Severe weather has been impacting our viewing area for the past few hours. We have a tornado watch in place for most of our southern counties, indicated here by the yellow. That'll expire at 8 p.m. And over in Vigo County, we just saw it change there. A tornado warning now in the eastern half of that county. We will continue to keep you updated as this storm develops.
Thank you, Emily. Also tonight, we're learning more about Governor Pritzker's proposed budget, what it could mean for housing costs and higher education.
Plus, new legislation aims to clean up waste left by e-cigarettes. We'll tell you about the unlikely duo behind the plan. This is News Watch, and your Thursday edition starts now.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
Showers and thunderstorms are rolling through central Illinois. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Matthew Posner.
And I'm Ben Whitney. Emily Davis is in the Weather Center with the latest on those storms and on the evening ahead. Good evening, Emily.
Good evening. That's right. We've been seeing severe weather move through our area for the past few hours. Because of that, we're placed under a tornado watch indicated here by the yellow. That'll expire at 8 p.m. It's for the majority of the southern counties of our viewing area. Over in Indiana, though, in Terre Haute and Vigo County, they are under a tornado warning. Now that is beginning to expire in parts of Vigo County, but is still active for other portions. Now the majority of the severe weather has been along the I-70 corridor. We're going to continue to monitor that, but the severe weather has begun to push off east. The main cell of it that we saw that has pushed through this afternoon has pushed off into Indiana, but you'll notice here another cell is on its way. That's the first look at your Skywatch forecast. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Emily. In other news, a Champaign shooting yesterday leads to an ongoing investigation. Last night, Champaign police were dispatched to the area of Stratford Drive just before 11 after reports of gunfire. While responding to the report, a call came from a 26-year-old man who had multiple potentially life-threatening gunshot wounds. He was found about a mile away on Sangamon Drive. According to an initial investigation, the man was on Stratford Drive when someone shot him, and he fled the area in a vehicle while calling for help. Police say he's hospitalized in critical condition, and they say they're still investigating the reason for the gunfire. Also in Champaign, firefighters responded to a house fire on Hessel Boulevard yesterday. Firefighters say crews responded to a report from an occupant at the home. When they arrived at the scene, they found light smoke coming from the house. Crews say they brought the fire under control immediately. Authorities say no one was hurt, and they're still investigating the cause of the fire. Police in Charleston are getting some new gear. The City of Charleston recently received a grant from the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, reimbursing the purchase of 9 new in-car camera systems. City Council approved that for $50,000 grant at their most recent meeting. It covers the majority of the cost for those systems. Charleston Mayor Brandon Combs says the cameras support officer safety, strengthen public trust, and accurately document police interactions.
Illinois could establish a new statewide zoning law under a proposal announced by Governor J.B. Pritzker during his budget address yesterday. Pritzker proposed a plan to limit local government's authority to restrict the types of structures that can be built on property zoned as residential. Accessory dwelling units, including granny flats, backyard cottages, and above-ground apartments, would be legalized on all properties designated for housing. The governor says it's part of a push for more affordable housing in the state. Pritzker wants lawmakers to approve $250 million in funding for site preparation grants, middle housing, and first-time homebuyer assistance. Governor Pritzker's state budget will also affect funding for higher education. University of Illinois officials say the proposed budget would provide a 1% increase in the state's general funds to their system. This would bring the system's total general funds to $736.5 million for the coming fiscal year. It It would also keep the amount of funding for Illinois' monetary award program for students unchanged. According to the University of Illinois, more than 22,000 of their students rely on grants from that program. Newswatch reached out to Eastern Illinois University to see how the budget would affect that school, and we're waiting to hear back. A new bill created by 2 Central Illinois high school students would tackle waste created by electronic smoking devices. Pontiac High School students Andrew Diaz and Allison Hovanich worked with the Illinois Environmental Council and lawmakers to draft the bill. HB 4652 would require producers of e-cigarettes and vapes to manage the disposal of the devices through stewardship programs similar to those for old electronics. Environmental experts say the devices can't be recycled and typically wind up in landfills where their batteries and chemicals like nicotine pose a unique health problem. The bill is awaiting a hearing at the Illinois Capitol.
An Edgar County hospital is offering free support for people who have lost a loved one. Horizon Health is hosting an 8-week grief program running from March 10th through April 28th. Sessions are Tuesday afternoons from 2 to 3 at the main campus in Paris. Organizers say the group will provide emotional support and effective ways to promote healing after a loss. Local city is looking for help planning for the future. Decatur city officials are inviting qualified consulting firms to submit proposals to help update the city's comprehensive plan and its zoning ordinance. Authorities say the proposed plan should focus on future development, reinvestment, and long-term management. They say the plan will integrate the city's demographic, land use, transportation, and infrastructure needs and emerging trends. Firms can bid on the entire project, just the plan, or just the zoning rewrite. And the city says this process with community outreach could take about 18 months to complete. It's been a chaotic and stormy afternoon throughout East Central Illinois.
You're exactly right, Matthew. Emily Davis is back in the Weather Center with the latest.
Severe weather has been impacting East Central Illinois throughout the afternoon today. The heaviest of it has pushed off to the east, but that's not all that we're going to see because another system is on its way.
Take a look at the moment a Jaguar smashes into the back of a school bus in Lee County, Florida. According to the sheriff's office, no students were on the bus at the time of the crash. The bus driver taken to the hospital for minor injuries. The driver of the sports car cited for following too closely. The sheriff's office sharing the video to social media, saying they're increasing patrols in the area to curb reckless driving, writing, "The safety of our students going to and from school is our top priority." Check out this poor pup that had a little car trouble of its own. Little canine got its head caught in a wheel. Fresno County, California firefighters showed up on the scene to save the day, eventually freeing the pooch from the predicament. According to a post on Facebook, they say the dog made it out unharmed and a little embarrassed. Another dog is now in safe hands after police say it was abandoned at the Las Vegas airport. Police published this video showing a passenger arriving with the Golden Doodle in tow. In a statement, police say the woman didn't fill out paperwork to fly with the pup as a service dog, so she was denied a boarding pass. Police say the woman left the animal tied right there at the ticket counter and went to her gate. Airport workers gave the dog some scratches while authorities tracked down the owner inside the airport. Once officers found her, according to police, she claimed the dog had a tracking device suggesting she could leave it behind and it would return to her. She was arrested and booked for animal abandonment and resisting arrest. The dog, nicknamed Jet Blue, is now with a rescue organization. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Severe weather has impacted East Central Illinois throughout the daytime today. A tornado watch for many counties in our area that will expire at 8 p.m. tonight. A tornado warning over in Vigo County, but pushing off to the east along with the rest of the storm. You'll notice the orange over in Indiana is that severe thunderstorm warning, but we have another cell on the way, and that's indicated over here by another severe thunderstorm warning that will be making its way along the I-70 corridor as we move forward. That's that system right there down along I-70 that will continue to push into our viewing area, but the majority of what we saw this afternoon has pushed off into Terre Haute and into Indiana. Now that's going to continue to push off as we move throughout the nighttime, but there are still a chance for some scattered thunderstorms as we move into the evening hours. But along with that, we're going to be seeing some strong winds and a wind advisory be put in place that will be put in place at 10 p.m. tonight and last until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that's because we're going to be seeing winds blowing out of the southwest at 20 to 25 miles per hour. And along with this storm, we're going to be seeing a cold front along with it that'll cause temperatures to drop down into the 30s for our low, a low temperature of 35 degrees overnight tonight. But looking at these storms, for the most part, they have pushed off to the east into Terre Haute, and that's going to continue to be the case as we move overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. A few clearing of clouds overnight, but it's going to return as we move into the morning hours. Mostly cloudy skies to start off our daytime, but as we look across east central Illinois and around Charleston, we're seeing mostly clear skies now, a few more clouds beginning to move in, but throughout the daytime today, we saw high temperatures much warmer with a high temperature of 63 degrees here in Charleston, getting almost to 70 down in Robinson with a high temperature of 68 degrees. But you can see as we look at our national map, a cold front will be pushing through along with this storm system. We saw warmer temperatures today, but this blue will push over the Midwest and cause our temperatures to cool off because of that cold front associated with those severe storms. Now, moving into tomorrow, we're going to see that cold front really take place with a high temperature only in the 40s, a high temperature of 42 degrees tomorrow, with those clouds beginning to clear in the late afternoon and evening hours. But we are still going to be seeing some windy conditions tomorrow. Like I said, that wind advisory is going to last until 9 a.m. tomorrow, and that's because we're going to be seeing winds blowing out of the west at 20 to 25 miles per hour tomorrow, gusting up to 40 miles per hour in parts of the daytime, mostly in the morning hours, but still strong winds throughout the entire daytime tomorrow. Now, along with that, we're going to be seeing those clouds clearing throughout the daytime, and starting in the late afternoon and moving into the evening hours. We're going to see those clouds clear up as we move into the evening. But looking past that, we're going to continue to see temperatures drop down because of that cold front. A high temperature of 41 degrees on Saturday under mostly cloudy skies, getting back below freezing for a high on Sunday with a high temperature of 31 degrees. And then we'll start to slowly warm up as we make it to next work week. A high temperature of 32 degrees on Monday under partly cloudy skies. But looking past that for the next 6 to 10 days, we're still going to be above average for this time of year. That average for this time is typically in the mid 40s. And looking at our 7-day, we're going to be above that for a few days. But before that, we're going to see temperatures drop down into the low 30s for our weekend and to start off next work week with a high temperature of 32 degrees on Monday, warming up a little bit on Tuesday with a high of 42 degrees. But then the real warm up will begin around midweek with a high of 56 degrees on Wednesday before we drop back down into the lower 40s for a few more days.
Thanks, Emily. I know those storms here in Charleston were a little strong earlier today, so hopefully all our viewers are staying safe out there.
Yeah, our crew came in today and there was a lot of hail, so it's just been one of those kind of crazy days you can never expect in February here in East Central Illinois, but that's the beauty of this state. So, all right, thanks, Emily. Still to come, U.S. officials continue their pressure on Iran amid ongoing negotiations.
Plus, a panel approves plans for a new ballroom at the White House. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
Smith, second-generation EIU Panther and a proud alum of the WEIU program. For nearly 4 decades, I've had the privilege of reporting on some of the biggest stories of my generation, from getting to know so many East Central Illinoisans to a quarter century on the anchor desks at CNN Sports and Turner Sports, covering major events worldwide, championship celebrations, and even presidential inaugurations. It's been a career that has far exceeded even my wildest dreams. One that would not have been possible without WEIU, which finds itself in peril. Recent legislation in Washington took away the program's federal funding. So on their behalf, I'm asking you to consider making a donation. WEIU is one of the best training grounds in the nation for students who have a passion for journalism, broadcasting, radio, TV production, and they're worth your gift. You can find more info at weiu.net. Thank you in advance for your gift.
In tonight's National Watch, sources familiar with the White House briefing say the U.S. military could be ready to strike Iran as soon as this weekend. Top administration national security officials met on Wednesday to discuss potential military action in Iran. President Trump has suggested a desire for regime change and said Iran did not possess nuclear arms. Sources say final decisions have not been made whether a strike will take place. The former Prince Andrew has been arrested. Thames Valley Police said on Thursday Andrew had been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in a public office. Sources say police were evaluating evidence related to the Epstein investigation. Due to connections to the late convicted sex offender, his brother King Charles stripped him of his royal titles. Andrew has denied any crimes related to Epstein. A key commission has approved renovation plans at the White House. The Commission of Fine Arts voted Thursday to approve the White House's final design for renovations. The committee's chair said of the more than 2,000 comments the design received by the panel, 99% of those were negative. But the group voted to approve the plans anyway. Now the National Capital Planning Commission will meet in March to vote on the matter. We turn our attention now to sports, and here with the top headlines is my co-anchor, Matthew Posner.
Thanks, Ben. What the actual heck is going on with the Chicago Bears? We'll have much more on a shocking new stadium proposal coming up. But first, Illinois men's basketball looks to shake off a rough week as they head west for a Big Ten showdown. Thanks for watching. Your full WEIU Sports Watch report is on the way right after this. U of I men's basketball is amongst the national championship favorites as March Madness fast approaches. And a tough Big Ten road test awaits as they head to California to take on USC. Welcome back, Kylan Boswell. In just a second game back from injury, the crafty guard zooms past the defense for an easy layup, and the Illini are rolling early. Ben Hummerkow showcases his long-range skill, burying a deep three as the shot clock expires. It's a bird. It's a plane. Nope, it's Zvonimir Visic who soars to the rim and brings it down with force. For the cherry on top, Andrei Stojakovic brings it back and flushes it down on this nasty one-handed jam, sealing a dominant victory for the Illini. Illinois walks into LA and crushes USC 101-65. Eastern Illinois basketball is back in action against Butler University, baseball, and there certainly wasn't a shortage of runs scored in this one. Panthers give up 12 runs, but score 15 of their own to take down the Bulldogs. EIU now moves to 3-1 with the victory. The Panthers got off to a red-hot start, scoring 4 runs in the first inning, but gave up 8 runs to Butler in the third. Eastern pitcher James Geschel tossed the final 3 innings and gave up 0 runs, ultimately giving the Panthers the win. EIU will be back in action this weekend on the road against Arkansas State for another 3-game series. From the mound to the court, Eastern Illinois is the place to be tonight for some Panther basketball, as both the men's and women's teams go up against Morehead State. The women's team has lost their last 3 games and are desperately looking for a good win to close out the home schedule. Despite the 4-23 overall record for Eastern, sophomore guard Nia Hardy has been a bright spot and led the Panthers in scoring in their last game. That game is underway, and Morehead State is the team leading at the half. As for the men's squad, the Panthers enter its final week of home games with a 7-9 record in the OVC. This will be a tough test for Eastern as the Eagles enter this game in a 3-way tie for second place in conference play. The men's game tips at 7:30, and Sports Watch will recap both games tomorrow. Day 1 of the Summit League Swimming and Diving Championships have wrapped up. Let's take a look at the results for the Panthers. Eastern Illinois placed 7th in the women's 200-yard medley relay as the Denver Pioneers came out on top in that event. For the men's 200-yard relay, the Panthers placed 5th with freshman Alexander Sadowski leading the way. Finally, EIU finishes 7th in the men's and women's 800-yard relays. There are still 2 days of action left in Iowa City as Eastern looks to claw back into contention for a conference title. After 7 days away, the NBA returns tonight, and both the Bulls and Pacers are in action. For Chicago, superstar point guard Josh Giddey is expected to return from a hamstring injury that has caused him to miss 20 of the Bulls' last 24 games. They take on Scotty Barnes and the Toronto Raptors at 7. For Indiana, they're just ready for this season to end. 1 year removed from an NBA Finals appearance, the Pacers are 15-40. And All-Star guard Tyrese Halliburton hasn't played a game after tearing his Achilles in Game 7 last June. They take on the Wizards tonight at 6, and their injury report is longer than Santa Claus's naughty list. The Chicago Bears have taken another significant step forward, choosing the team's new home, and it's looking more and more like that home will not be built in the state of Illinois. The Bears appear to be on the verge of announcing an eventual move from Soldier Field to Hammond, Indiana. Indiana officials are expected to meet later today to finalize a stadium bill after the Bears let it be known that Hammond is their preferred site for a new stadium. The Illinois House Committee was scheduled to hold a hearing this morning that would have allowed the Bears to secure additional tax funding for the proposed Arlington Heights Stadium site. However, that hearing was canceled, and no reasoning has been provided on why it was. The news sent shockwaves on social media, with thousands of Bears fans outraged at the increased distance between them and a new stadium. For residents of the northwest suburbs of Chicago, a commute to the proposed Hammond Stadium site would likely take over 2 hours. It is important to note that nothing is finalized just yet, but with each passing day, it looks more and more likely that the new home of the Bears will be in Indiana. The PGA Tour heads back to the Pacific Palisades in Southern California for the opening round of the Genesis Invitational. And just like us here in East Central Illinois, Cali is getting pelted with major storms and rainfall, which caused a nearly 3-hour delay at the Genesis earlier today. Nearly everyone is still on the course. Here's a live look at that early leaderboard. World number 2 Rory McIlroy is roaring up the leaderboard. He leads at 5 under through his first 12 holes. Last week's winner, Colin Morikawa, has found his game as the two-time major champion sits alone in second at 4 under. 4 players currently sitting a tie for third at 3 under. Lefty and multi-time winner Akshay Bhatia, former Clemson star Jacob Bridgman, former Duke star Max Gracerman, and Ryo Hisatsune, who continues his remarkable start to 2026. He's only played 7 holes and is already tied for third. In Milan Cortina, there's just 3 days remaining of the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. Let's take a look at how Team USA is doing. Michaela Schifrin is now the youngest and oldest U.S. woman to win gold in alpine skiing after her gold medal finished yesterday. Ben Ogden and Gus Schumacher got a silver medal in the men's team sprint cross-country skiing event, while Jake Cantor gathered a bronze medal in the men's slopestyle snowboarding event. Today, Jordan Stolz got silver in the men's 1,500-meter speed skating event, his 3rd medal of this year's Olympic Games. Also today, the Team USA women's hockey team took down Canada in overtime to win another gold. And finally, Alyssa Liu won gold in figure skating, the first Olympic medal for an American in women's figure skating in 20 years. Finally tonight, Mattoon boys basketball picked up a midweek win last night over Shelbyville 66-58. The Green Wave now hold a 2-game win streak, heading to their final game of the regular season tomorrow night at home against the Effingham Flaming Hearts. That wraps up another Thursday of sports. Now back to my co-anchor, Ben Whitney.
Thanks, Matt. Still to come, Emily Davis returns with a final check of a jam-packed Skywatch forecast. But first, a London museum is recreating a moment in online history. We'll explain in our parting story. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
U2 pays tribute to Renee Nicole Good and the people of Minneapolis in American Obituary, the first track on the group's new EP, Days of Ash. The 6-track EP is out now in advance of a new album due late this year.
Everything that's new is a bit exotic and fun and attractive.
Kristen Bell is a new addition to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Bell is set to voice Amy Rose in Sonic the Hedgehog 4, due in theaters in March of 2027. In the games, Amy Rose is a pink hedgehog with a crush on Sonic.
We did the sauce competition, we went to it, and we moved to New York City.
This was my last one, Mom. I don't want Dad.
I know, but you need a guardian.
I can, if you really need me.
What does really mean?
Right. No, you're right.
Here's your first look at Steve Zahn and his daughter Audrey Zahn in She Dances, about an estranged father and daughter on the road to her final dance competition. Mackenzie Ziegler, Rosemary DeWitt, Sonequa Martin Green, and Ethan Hawke also star. She Dances opens in theaters March 27th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Finally tonight, it's now been more than 20 years since YouTube came online. Now a London museum is preserving that moment. The Victoria and Albert Museum is displaying a reconstruction of an early YouTube page from 2006. It features the first video ever shown on YouTube. That video is called Me at the Zoo, and it's a 19-second clip of 25-year-old YouTube co-founder Jad Karim talking about elephants. The museum says it took a year and a half to rebuild the page. Well, our weather has been like a zoo today, and here with the final recap is Skywatch's Emily Davis.
Weather's certainly been chaotic today, with severe weathers moving through the area throughout the afternoon and eventually into this evening. We're currently under a tornado watch, indicated here by the yellow, that for many of the counties, but As we look down at I-70, there is a tornado warning that is going to be continuing to move possibly, but as that moves, we will keep you updated. But looking forward, or looking at this storm, we're seeing some severe weather begin to move back into Effingham and Shelby counties. The majority of the storms we saw this afternoon have moved off into Indiana, but as we look at the next 7 days, this storm is going to cause temperatures to drop down significantly, with a high temperature of 42 degrees on Friday, dipping down into the low 30s by the end of the weekend, and then warming up slowly as we make it to next work week, eventually reaching 32 degrees on Monday, 42 degrees on Tuesday. We'll be back up in the upper 50s around midweek, around Wednesday, but we will be dropping back down into the 40s for next Thursday.
Thanks, Emily. I know we always expect some up and down with the temperatures this time of year, but I'm definitely going to miss those 60 degrees until we get them back.
This has been a chaotic February for temperatures. You know, it's been unbelievable. Thank you, Emily. That's all the time we have tonight on Newswatch. For more news and weather, be sure to log on to our website at weiu.net.
There, you'll find real-time forecasts and the news video of the day.
And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping us an email at weiu.net. Have a great night.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.